the pain that that mother has to live with now.
To hear of something so violent and unconventional here is really surprising.
Tonight, heartbreak in Southern California, where investigators believe a father used a hatchet to attack his own family in what's being described as a suspected murder-suicide. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Tonight, police in the city of Montebello say the father behind that attack is dead, along with his son, and his daughter and the children's mother have been left critically injured. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez spoke with people in that neighborhood east of Los Angeles, where all of this unfolded earlier today.
The response to a 911 call at a Montebello apartment complex off Lohart quickly goes from a female down covered in blood to a lot more. Inside apartment 1, there's a dead young man. Paramedics transport who they believe to be his juvenile sister and their mother, both suffering from severe head wounds. On the driveway, police find a dead man in a pool of blood, and not far from him, a hatchet, which investigators believe the dead man used to attack his family.
That's mind-blowing. I mean, to think that's going to happen somewhere next door to my house, my home, it's frightening.
Officers marking evidence. This actually looks like a knife, but they're even up on the roof of the building. Neighbors not necessarily surprised.
There has been police activity, and not just once, but multiple times. Just the mom and dad arguing, just a lot of arguing.
I don't know what would cause a parent to turn on his family, but it's something really terrible.
I mean, these are people that I see daily. It's horrifying.
Oh my God, that's the pain that that mother has to live with now. They're gonna wake up, that daughter as well, wake up and just in a whole different life, so I feel for them.
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting tonight. A reminder here, the National Suicide and Crisis Hotline is available 24 hours a day. All you have to do is call 988 if either you or someone you know is in need of help. Mourners gathered earlier today to honor the life of a Los Angeles police officer who died on the job. Sergeant Sho Dang died last month after stopping to help someone who crashed a pickup truck along the 405 freeway. Another vehicle coming down the freeway hit Dang and the driver of that truck. Dang and the truck driver were both killed. The sergeant was with the department for nearly 27 years. LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell called him an exceptional guy and a true leader. The man who admits he killed 4 Idaho college students has now arrived at the state's maximum security prison. Here's a look tonight at the mugshot that was taken earlier today of Brian Kohberger. Hopefully we can get it up here for you. Newly released documents in his case revealed disturbing details about the scene where he stabbed 4 people to death. As Fox 13's Nia Wong reports, they also offer some insight into his behavior leading up to the crimes.
Before Brian Kohberger was locked away behind bars, family and friends of the victims shared their horror and grief to his face.
I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer.
Despite given the chance to speak, Kohberger chose to not make a statement, leaving many questions that may never be answered.
What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words?
More than 300 pages released by the Moscow Police Department reveal the gruesome scene that police responded to in November of 2022. Multiple officers wrote how the victims were beyond help, and Kaylee Gonzalez was, quote, unrecognizable as her facial structure was extremely damaged. Reports reveal Gonzalez was stabbed more than 20 times.
Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months?
Also included in the bundle of new documents were testimonies from friends of the victims, with some hearing Kaylee had been followed at a grocery store, and Gonzalez's ex-boyfriend telling police that months before the murders, Kaylee had told him a shadowy figure was behind the house when she took her dog outside.
Today we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community.
Investigators spent months following tips from people claiming to have seen Kohberger, with one woman claiming she even matched with Kohberger on a dating app, and that he asked her, quote, what she thought would be the worst way to die. Though not every tip was directly linked to Kohberger, Kohberger now faces 4 life sentences.
You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival. But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Hell will be waiting.
And that was Fox 13's Nia Wong reporting tonight. Kohberger has been sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. 5 former Memphis police officers will be sentenced in December on federal charges in the beating death of Tyree Nichols, who was a native of Sacramento. This comes after the federal judge presiding over the case suddenly recused himself last month for unknown reasons. Those 3 officers were found guilty of obstruction of justice. 2 others pleaded guilty to violating Nichols' civil rights. Nichols died after being beaten by the officers back in 2023. A Bay Area-based healthcare giant is the latest provider to suspend gender-affirming surgeries for patients under the age of 19. Kaiser Permanente says those procedures will end on August 29th. Kaiser follows Stanford Medicine and Children's Hospital Los Angeles in announcing they are scaling back or stopping surgeries under increased pressure from the Trump administration. Advocates and parents say that care allows trans kids to flourish and be who they truly are.
Knowing that this is being pulled from us puts into question all kinds of healthcare and all kinds of trust with the healthcare system, and I am really scared for that future.
Kaiser put out a statement that reads in part, quote, as the legal and regulatory environment for gender-affirming care continues to evolve, we must carefully consider the significant risks being created for health systems, clinicians, and patients under the age of 19 seeking this care. Well, the possibility of immigration enforcement raids happening at Nevada schools has some parents worried about students returning to class next month. Fox 5's Carla Salinas shows us how some schools in the Las Vegas area are preparing.
They're supposed to be safe spaces, but some families are now afraid to send their children back to school.
We've started hearing in our office people worried about when school starts next month. Are schools going to be safe? We hope so, of course.
The fear grew in June when Governor Joe Lombardo vetoed AB 217, or the Student Safety Act. The bill was created by the Nevada Latino Legislative Caucus that's made up of Hispanic educators across the valley. The bill would have banned ICE agents from entering schools or accessing student records without a judicial warrant. Under federal law, immigration agents must have a warrant signed by a judge to enter any school campus. But earlier this year, the Trump administration revoked internal ICE guidance that discouraged agents from targeting sensitive locations like schools and churches. Without those protections in place, school districts are creating their own protocols. The Clark County School District says it does not check immigration status, does not enforce federal immigration law, and has procedures if immigration agents show up.
And make our students feel safer so that they can come to school. Normally, an agent will come in, they'll deal with the admin, and then our admin will call the general counsel, and then we can work as a liaison and respond to that in order to make sure everything is good to go.
District staff are told to verify the agent's identity, ask for the reason for the visit, and notify CCSD police. Officers with the district say they do not engage in immigration enforcement, but despite those guardrails, immigrant families remain on edge.
This kind of fear is just so incredibly destructive to our neighbors, to our community, to our economy, whatever it is people care about.
Carla Salinas, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
Some Catholic churches in California have new plans in place to help immigrant families affected by recent raids. St. Patrick's Catholic Church in Los Angeles is one of the many parishes gathering food and other supplies. The Archdiocese announced this family assistance program yesterday, and already it's received a $50,000 donation from developer Rick Caruso.
The worst thing that can happen is we end up with families on the street, and that can happen very quickly if you can't pay rent and you don't have a source of income.
Rick Caruso is the grandson of immigrants. He says his family will make another donation matching dollar for dollar, every dollar that's given up to $50,000. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, copper mine operators here in the West are hoping to play a key role in your life. Tonight, how they hope to work their metal into products that you use every day.
And in weather, here's our live camera looking out toward beautiful Seattle. The current temperature is 73 degrees. We're going to increase the cloud cover overnight, and we'll talk more about your forecast coming up.
You, the person running the computer, a lot more agency and a lot more facility.
Imagine your body as a future keyboard. Tonight, we'll show you how Meta is hoping to make it possible for people to use computers with simple swipes of their wrist. Oregon-based Columbia Sportswear believes that Columbia University is confusing shoppers. The company has filed a lawsuit against the university. They did so yesterday, accusing the school of trademark infringement, unfair competition, breach of contract, and other violations. The company has a problem with the university selling clothing items that include only the word Columbia, which resembles the company's logo. It wants all sales of those items to stop. The company is also seeking damages for economic harm. Now, in the company's complaint, it says, quote, Columbia Sportswear has spent over 80 years building its reputation in the U.S. and around the world. Its trademarks symbolize Columbia Sportswear's sterling reputation for high-quality, active, outdoor, sporting, and recreational wear and gear. We did ask Columbia University to comment on this lawsuit, and we are still awaiting a response. Northern California Safeway customers are bracing for a potential supermarket strike. The United Food and Commercial Workers Local 5 says its 25,000 union members will walk at midnight off the job, midnight Saturday, I should say, if they do not reach a new contract. Upwards of 240 stores from Fresno, California up to the Oregon state line could be affected by a work stoppage. Safeway has posted signs at its stores seeking temporary workers just in case there is a strike. Negotiations began back in March. Around-the-clock talks started yesterday, with the major sticking points still being wages, health care benefits, and retirement pensions.
Safeway has offered improvements in wages, healthcare benefits, and retirement. They are not improvements enough for us to be able to recommend that deal to our membership.
Safeway management says in part they are, quote, working diligently to balance the needs of our associates and customers, maintain our position as a trusted choice in the market by delivering consistent value, and ensure the long-term sustainability of our business. An Arizona copper mine could become a major source of building blocks for items you want. Fox's Max Gordon visited the mine to see how it's positioning itself for big business.
Ivanhoe Electric says they're hoping to open up their Santa Cruz copper mine sometime in 2028. Then they'll be producing 99.99% pure copper. Over the 23-year life of this mine, they say they'll be able to produce around 3 billion pounds of copper. Now, over the past couple of years, they've been taking core samples just like this, essentially trying to create a 3D map underground of where the copper is located here. And they've been using drill rigs just like this one. Over the past couple of years, they've drilled more than 1 million feet underground. So why is this all important? Copper is used for all kinds of things, from wiring and cables to electronics and piping. And currently, the U.S. only produces around 50% of the copper that it uses. Based on stats from the International Energy Agency, the U.S. is 5th in the world for copper mining, behind Chile, the DRC, Peru, and China.
The global copper market really isn't as much about competition. Globally, we don't produce, enough copper to meet future demand. And so, we need more projects to meet domestic and global demand, and we'll sell every pound of copper we produce just like other projects will.
And with President Trump threatening to implement tariffs on imported copper, the Santa Cruz copper mine promises to be a big source of domestic copper. This copper deposit is also in a great location. Power and natural gas lines already reach the mine site, and it's in close proximity to rail lines and Interstate 10. The CEO of Ivanhoe Electric says that it all means that they can produce this 99.99% pure copper at a relatively low cost. And while permits need to be approved and the project still needs to be financed, they've been moving very quickly compared to other mining projects, aiming to get the mine up and running after about 8 years of planning and work. Ivanhoe Electric says that this mine will create hundreds of jobs, with many of these jobs providing for six-figure salaries. In Casa Grande, Arizona, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
Let's turn now and talk about our weather here in the West. And some people in southern New Mexico are dealing with another day of rough weather. Images picked up by U.S. Geological Survey cameras show heavy rain that caused flash flooding this afternoon in the Ruidoso area. This is the same spot where flash flooding left 3 people dead earlier this month. First responders are warning people to stay away from rivers and streams here with all of that heavy rain. For more, let's bring in KTVU Chief Meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking those storms in New Mexico. And of course, you have conditions for the rest of the West. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, the radar earlier today, very active for this portion of New Mexico. And thankfully, the activity has been at least diminishing somewhat. But here, as you can pick out, there's the location here. And also you can pick out just the coverage, just for reference here. There's Albuquerque, and there's all the coverage from earlier this morning and into the afternoon hours. The greens, the yellows, and the reds indicating the heavy downpours. As we come in closer right now, we'll show you some of the storm reports. These are all the storm reports linked up with that flash flooding you can see in that area in Ruidoso. Video showing the house floating down Cedar Creek. So still some dramatic reports today, at least with the heavy downpours and the storm reports for that portion of the West. In fact, here's the forecast model tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. There's not a lot to show you. It looks like the activity tomorrow afternoon moving out of portions of New Mexico, but maybe some more coverage developing by mid to late afternoon. We're showing you this, the satellite and the radar across the West. It looks like we have some thunderstorms for portions of Northern California. Those storms linked up with a red flag fire warning for tomorrow. But this was the scene in Seattle today, showing you some sunshine, a temperature of 76 degrees for an afternoon high, so kind of a nice mild day. In the San Francisco Bay Area, lots of low clouds and fog out toward portions of San Francisco. The temperature is 65 degrees. And in Phoenix, temperature is 106 degrees, showing you the sunshine from earlier today. As we check out the weather story for tomorrow, partly cloudy skies up in Seattle, some fog for San Francisco, especially for the morning hours. Clearing skies for Los Angeles, more sunshine out toward Phoenix, and about a 20% chance of some thunderstorms for Denver tomorrow. Here's the Fox weather model showing you this, and we could have some drizzle for portions of the Bay Area first thing tomorrow morning. And then, as you can't pick out, there we go with those thunderstorm chances. 2 spots we're watching out for here in parts of Northern California tomorrow afternoon, and also out toward northern New Mexico into parts of Colorado that could impact the Denver forecast for tomorrow. So here's the plan. As you can see, Seattle temperatures in the upper 60s for tomorrow with clouds in the morning. San Francisco, still some patchy fog into the afternoon hours, and temperatures not moving too much into the weekend. Denver, lots of 90s expected. Southern California, so typical Southern California weather. Fog in the morning with some hazy sunshine into the afternoon hours. It looks like temperatures heating back up in the Phoenix area, 108, 110 degrees eventually over the next several days. So as you can see here, maybe some thunderstorms out toward Denver and some heat to once again focused, as you would expect, in portions of Arizona.
All right, yeah, we'll keep an eye on those thunderstorms for sure, though. Okay, Mark, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a breakthrough for researchers at Meta that could make it easier for those with disabilities to use technology. We'll have details on the wearable device that can turn nerve signals into commands for a computer. Plus, a surprising sight for many beachgoers in Southern California, why researchers believe so many of these bright purple sea snails are washing ashore right now.
Been working on this beach for about 2 years and never seen anything that color purple.
Legendary pro wrestler Hulk Hogan has died at the age of 71. Hogan, whose real name was Terry Bollea, was a towering figure in sports entertainment. He, of course, exploded onto the national scene back in the early 80s, headlining the very first WrestleMania event in 1985 and helping to launch the then WWF into a global phenomenon. Well, there's been a rare sighting in Southern California. Bright purple sea snails have been washing up along the shores of La Jolla. Fox's Delaney White shows us about this rare species.
I thought, oh my gosh, no way. I had never seen one in person.
Anya Steiner, a fifth-year PhD candidate at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, is no stranger to sea creatures. In late June, while walking along La Jolla shores, she spotted something unusual.
I thought, what? And I looked a little bit closer, and it was actually one of those violet sea snails, which I recognized from my studies.
These bright purple creatures, called Janthina,
the ones I collected actually had egg sacs,
float on the surface of the sea using a mucus bubble raft. They're rarely seen here and usually stay in tropical or subtropical waters.
They're darker on the top so that a seabird who is like flying above that might want to eat the Janthina couldn't see it, and then they're like a lighter purple below so that a fish looking up from below might have a harder time spotting.
The unassuming purple snails feed off marine life.
This is the Velella
and are vicious predators of Velella and the Portuguese man-o-war.
And are oftentimes prey of the violet snails.
But harmless to humans, according to Steiner. Most beachgoers have seen pictures of the elusive sea creatures, but haven't seen them in person.
I've heard of them. I've seen them either on the news or social media. It is cool, but it also makes me wonder why they're showing up.
La Jolla Shores tour guide Robbie DePau says he saw the sea snails in San Diego circulating on social media, but wasn't sure he believed it.
A bit of a hoax, yeah. I didn't, because I've never seen them before. I've been working on this beach for about 2 years and never seen anything that color purple.
But no, they're real.
Steiner says she thinks they're washing up on La Jolla shores due to a patch of warmer water offshore that's made its way into the cove. These violet sea snails haven't been spotted on San Diego beaches since 2015.
Which is when we had both an El Nino event and a warm blob of water that sort of combined, and it was this massive marine heat wave.
However, you're unlikely to catch a glimpse of these rare snails on California beaches again anytime soon.
The waters are back to their cool California current waters that are actually coming down from the north. So it would be unlikely to find them.
A really incredible sight. That was Fox 5's Delaney White reporting for us tonight. La Jolla Shores is a marine protected area, so researchers are urging people who do see the snails to leave them in that area. They say it is okay, however, to pick them up to take pictures. Researchers at Meta's Reality Lab say they are developing a device that you can wear on your wrist that will translate electric signals into computer commands. The team reported their findings into the journal Nature. Creators of this device say it could offer a wearable technology method for people with different physical abilities. In demonstrations, it's been used for handwriting recognition, selection tasks, and navigation.
Everything you do with a computer requires moving, and mostly you actually use your hands. Sometimes you use your mouth, but it's really actually excruciatingly slow. And the idea was to take the nerve signals that you use to move your hands and instead use those nerve signals to directly control a computer.
The team at Meta says the device processes gestures in real time, and that could be a very important breakthrough by that research team at Meta. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. Quick reminder here before we head out, all the big stories we're covering up at westcoastwrap.com. Have a great night.